before showing you how I'm gonna do this in with PowerShell, I'd like to use this example to explain the logic. So we have
Before
this,
that,
IP address and
my intro. So today I will walk you through how to calculate CIDR notations using your PowerShell. I think you will learn so many tricks that I use in PowerShell and also get a better understanding on how to calculate CIDR notations. So let's have fun.
So we have this IP address and /21, and this prefix is telling us something, and we have to do some logic to find the subnet mask, network IP, and the broadcast IP address. So to do that, I'd like to have a table from left to right with numbers on it from 1 to 32, and this /21 is telling us this area is going to be occupied if you want. So telling us that this is the network bits. We have 21. It's like fix, and the rest is going to be host bits. And we have to represent this 21 in bits, and it's going to be, of course, from left to right. So as you can see here, I have 21 ones, and the rest is going to be zeros. And to make difference between the bits and the bytes, so we have like 8 bits for in each byte, and that's the IP address version 4, of course. So to do the math, I'm gonna bring my table. If you add all this, it's gonna be 255, and here also is gonna be 255, and here, as we don't have 1 and 2 and 4, it's only gonna be 248, and the rest is gonna be 0 here. So so what's this? This is your subnet mask, and we'd like to find the first IP address in this subnet. To do that, I want to bring my IP address first and draw a line here to show us where is the 21, and we only want to focus on this left side of this line. And I'm gonna bring my table, and I'm gonna do the math. So again, here is going to be 131 because we can use everything here, and here also is going to be 20. But here, this /21 is telling us that this area is like free, so we can go to the minimum if you want to say it like that. So all this can become 0. And that's how you get the first IP address, and that's going to be the network IP address. And if you do the math, it's 16. And similar here, we can use everything, so we're going to go to the first one, and it's going to be 0, and of course you're going to be 0 here, and this is going to be your network IP address, or the first IP address in your subnet. And we're going to do the same thing for broadcast IP address, and again we will focus on the left side of this line, and I'll bring my table, and if we do the math, it's gonna be 131 again because we're not gonna touch that, and this one too is not gonna change. But here for the broadcast IP address, we want to go to the maximum, and to get the maximum is gonna be 111, of course. And if you do the math, it's like 137 with 16 is 23. And here also we want to change this to the maximum, which is going to be 1 everywhere, and that gives you the 255. And this is your broadcast IP address. And I will use this logic in my PowerShell to automate this. I hope you enjoy. So we'll go to my PowerShell, and you can use anyone you want, Windows PowerShell or Core. I'm going to go with the Core. So I have a folder I created called PowerShell. You can create something similar. I'm going to go to this folder, and I'm going to create a directory to hold my CIDR code or script. So I'm going to call it CIDR, just like that, and go there. And I will open my my code here by typing code dot, and VS Code is gonna open in this directory. So here, as you can see, I have my directory. I can go here and just create a file, PS1 file, or you do this from the terminal. For your terminal, just click here to see your shortcut, and for the rest of the shortcut, just click Control K and S, and you get the list. So I will trigger my terminal. As you can see, it's PowerShell 7.2. It's core, and I will just type code and the name of the file, the PS1 file. So it's going to be convert CIDR and PS1. And as you can see, we get the file, but it's not saved. So I'll just Control S it, and we have the file here. As you can see, we have this integrated and like PowerShell together. And this get triggers. So I'm gonna delete this, and if you're worried about the version, just type PS version table, and you will see that it's core. So, and I will just close my terminal for now, and my sidebar by Control B, and we get more space. So I will go here and revise what we did. So we have an entry, and we want to use this prefix to find the subnet mask. So the first thing we're going to do is going to split the string by 2 and get the prefix, then use the rest, which is the IP address, to get the network and the broadcast IP address. I will also divide, like split this IP address by 4 and get it into array to make it simpler. So I will go back to my my VS Code. I will create a function. I will use just a easy one, so I'm not going to go in details in validation. So I will call this convert CIDR again, and entry, just anything, but I'll call it entry. And as I say, I will split first. So I will set this variable and set it to entry split by slash, and the prefix is going to be is going to be the second element of split, so it's going to be this. And as I said, I will split the IP address to an array, so I will call it just address bytes, and it's going to be the first element of split. That's the IP address that we have, and I will split it by dots. And in PowerShell, you want to escape a dot. You want to escape a character when you want to split by dot. First, I want to take care of the prefix 21. So to do that, I will create a string with 21s on the left and zeros on the right. So to do that, I will call it a mask. I will use a method, a pretty common method to multiply string multiple times and get the same value or a character. So I will use one as a string and multiply it by prefix. So let's print this and see if we get what we want. I will just run this, and I still have it here, so I'm going to use this. You see that we have 21 zeros. I will do the same for 0, so I will just add 0 as a string multiplied by 32 minus the prefix. And if you run this, and this is what we get what we want. I will show you another method. Let me comment out this by control slash. I will call this again mask, and you can pad left to a string and decide how long it should be. So I will use like an empty string and do pad left or right. For start, it doesn't matter. And I will use the prefix, and it's going to be 1. And again, so if we run this, basically we will get the same as this. As you can see, it's the same as the first one, and we'll do the same for this, but we want it to be we want to add zeros to the right, so add right. And as I said, the first one doesn't matter, left or right doesn't matter, so we want it to be 32 in total, and again here 0 instead of 1. So if we run this, it's gonna work. Voila, so we have the same result. So it's up to you what to use. So once we have this binary representation, we want to switch convert this to decimal. To do that, there's a method. I will just use it here to make sure you understand. So it's convert, and we use to int mask, and we tell it was binary, so it gives us the value we want. And actually, if you run this, we will get this this 64-bit that doesn't make any sense. So I will just set this as mask again. Once we have this, we can use this class in .NET. It's a system net IP address that we can use, and I will use it. You pass the variable as it is, but this is going to give us an object, and I will just get one attribute or value inside, which is IP address to string. So if I run this script again, as you can see, we get the broadcast subnet mask right away. So I will the procedure we did here, we will use it in other steps too. So I will just create another function. We go up before our function, so we'll just type function with the installations. I will use the simplest one. We'll call it format bytes, and the variable I will use two variables. I will explain later, and bin or binary, and a v set to 0 as default. And here I will create a variable called binary 32, which is like the 32 that we have here, and it's going to be the entry bin, and we will pad right to get a string 32 long using the value v, because as you can see here, it's 0. So we want this part to be executed in this function, and as I want to make it simple and just pass integers, I will switch here to a string, and I will pass the value v. And after this, as you can see here, we want to change this to int64. So I'm going to create another variable, and I call it int64, and as you can guess, it's going to be convert and to u int64, and it's going to be our underscore int64, and we're going to tell it that it's binary. And finally, when you use this formula to get the IP address, I'm going to control C here and just paste it here, and I will just return this value, and we have to change this to underscore int64. And with this, we don't need this anymore, and all we have to do is pass this value on the left. So we pass format bytes, and this is the value of bin. And as I said before, if the 0 is default, so we don't need to pass it as 0. And with this, we don't need this variable name anymore, and I will just change it to Subnet Mask, because that's what we're getting from this. And just to test, let me print Subnet Mask. Let me run. Voila, we get the value we're looking for. So this is what we get. So this function is going to help us a lot, and I will use it for the others. So let me clear this. And so if you remember, we have the IP address, and we have it in a binary, and we only looked at this bits on the left side of this line. So we have to change this to a binary format, then just take this substring of the whole long string. If you remember, we had other values here, and to do that, as we have the array of each octet in this IP address, I will convert each one to 8 bits. As you can see here, for example, if I convert it, this will ignore the zeros on the left. So we want to make sure that it's all 8 bits, even if it doesn't have a 1 on the extreme left. So to do that, I will loop on the address byte, and for each one, this is how you loop in PowerShell. For each one, we'll create an address, I'll call it binary underscore binary to make it easy to remember, and we will add to it the converted, if you remember, the converted of every octet to binary. So it's going to be to string, and so PS item, and I want to tell it it's binary, but I want to show you what's the problem, then fix it. And address binary. Oh, as you can see, let's get the length, and you see what I mean. Only 26. That's because, as I said, we have some that don't have the one on the 8 bits, and similar to the others, if you remember. So this one too actually has another 3 empty, if you want to call it. So that's the 6 difference that we have between 26 and 32. So what we want to do is pad to this more zeros and make it 8 bits long. And how you do that is pad left this time, and we want it to be 8 bit long, and we want to pad 0. And if I run again, if I run again, it's 32. And if I run and get the value, if you remember, that's the value we had in the beginning. Okay, so once we have this, we can do whatever we want actually. So we have the whole one with the original next to it, and well, we want to take the substring 21 bits from the left and pass it to our function network IP address is going to be, we're going to use a format byte, and the bin is going to be the substring of our address underscore B. So address underscore substring, and we want to take only 21, so it's going to be prefix. And also we want to make sure that we stack count from the first character. Similarly, I would copy this and broadcast this time. It's going to be the same as you remember. We only care about the left, but next time we want to add 1 instead of 0. And if you remember, that's why we have the v. And if you give it the value 1, then it's going to change to adding ones instead of zeros to the right. And I will just print this. Subnet Mask, network IP address, and broadcast IP address. Run, and let's check, and voila. If you remember, we had this in our example. So this is pretty much it. Okay. I'd like to add some more info, like max hosts, and you can you know that it's the power of 2 of the 32 minus prefix. So I will just use the power function, and it's going to be 32 minus the prefix, and summary, the max subnets that we can create with this slash max subnets. It's just going to be again power 2 and prefix. And if you want to just let's make this plural. And I don't want to waste your time, so I will just copy and paste this. And it's gonna write host and give you like the values, so you can see. I have some tabs here. I will upload this to GitHub, so please check the code. And let's go to my terminal, get some space, and run, and voila. So we have 2048, and as you know, we can't use the network or broadcast address, so we only have 2046 valid hosts, and blah blah blah. We have what we want. I think this is it. Hope you enjoyed. Please comment if you have anything to say, and I will upload this and please take a look. Thank you.